fathers. All right, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Let me just play something for you.
We're pointing to the court.
The government has overstepped their authority on numerous times, state to state. Money or favors should not determine whether you get to have a relationship or time with your child. It's no secret the family system is broken and even corrupt. There is a podcast that lets your story be heard and solutions for others in a similar position. On Saturday, October the 12th, 19th and 26th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What are the problems you had or have? What are the resources or solutions that will change the game? No more outdated laws and stereotypes. Time to organize and listen to the people. As a special thank you for the first 10 guests to the podcast, you get a gift. Craft a symbol of your cherished connections with the custom stainless steel link bracelet. This durable, elegantly designed piece is perfect for anyone wishing to carry a piece of their heart on their wrist. Engrave up to 4 names in telling your unique story, be it your children, siblings, or friends, and keep your loved ones with you throughout the
day. All right. Now, I just want to share something with you. Okay? Hold on. The attorney that we have for the Fleecing of Fatherhood program or lawsuit, okay? I talked with him the other day, and he actually has looked over some of the cases that we have. He said he has 10 cases so far. Okay, that's 10. All right. He said if we can get more, that would be perfect. Okay, if we can get more. All right. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to fulfill that. Okay, and we are trying to get more. All right. So if you know of a father, or if you've been a father that has been taken advantage of by the family court anywhere in Maryland or anywhere, I'm gonna say on the Eastern Seaboard, please send your case number and your case to myself. Okay, I'm the executive director. You can send it to my cell phone or you can email it. Okay, my cell phone number is 443-768-8158. Again, my cell phone number is 443-768-8158. Or you can email your case number and case to me. All right, at winningstrategies.fcc@gmail.com. All right. Now, there's somebody that you know that's dear to me that's on with us right now. Okay. Mr. Nix.
What's good?
Mr. Nix. Did you get my package, first of all?
I did not. I've been sitting here waiting, and I got a Well, I got cameras that show me everything, but yeah, no FedEx, no nothing has come yet.
All right. So I'll check with the post office and see if they still have those DVDs that's for you. I don't want to have to reorder them, but I will check with them. Now, what I was just speaking to people about was I spoke with the attorney. Okay. I think I told you. I spoke with the attorney, and he said from what I sent them before, we still have not we still have. He wants to put as many cases up there as he can. He has already done 10, okay, from what I've sent him. He's looked at them, he's synthesized them, he sees the injustice that have come from the family court. All right. He wants more. He wants us to send them more. So I was explaining to individuals, and I don't know if you've seen my TikTok post where I said, the attorney wants us to send him more cases. Okay, cases of where the fathers feels as though they have been victimized by the family court. They've been treated with bias. All right. Um,
Now this is
and
just
like
out in
I
Maryland.
say again,
This is just right there in Maryland.
no, I said East. He wants Eastern Seaboard.
Oh, yeah, okay. So anywhere from
Yeah,
Maine down to Florida.
right.
All right.
So he can synthesize them and compare them, compare the injustice on what's going on. Okay. And his
So what exactly is he looking for? Is he looking for like parents just to like go like TikTok videos where parents are like been screwed over, or is he looking for like them to come on the podcast and tell their story, or just to get a hold of him so they can just tell their story personally?
right tell their story, but he's also looking for their cases and case numbers so he can pull them to research them and to look at them and to read through the documents. You know, we can't really see the documents of the case files, but
Yeah.
however, attorneys can.
Mhm.
Um, so that being said, he wants to look at it, like I said, synthesize it and compare them. Okay,
Mhm.
he wants to delve deep into it. Now, what's important is General Assembly time is coming up. Well, not coming up, it starts next year. However, they're having meetings now. And I told him, since I'm in the law program, they are meeting with the judiciary.
Okay.
And I'm trying to register for that meeting. He said that would be one of the best things that I can do for fathers because that allows me to go in, sit there, talk with them, let them know what's going on, see where their heads are about putting fatherhood on the making a bill or introducing a bill that's going to pass that's going to talk about addressing the fatherhood lack thereof. If you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna say that's a step in the right direction. Um, but how you know how my mind goes? It can be one
So
way or one
what would be
read.
what would be the incentive of like the fathers or even mothers coming on to, say, hey, this is what happened to me. Now, is that attorney, let's say they live in another state, let's say they're in New Jersey, New York, and they're like, yo, I just got screwed in court. This is what happened to me, blah, blah, blah. They didn't even listen to my story, whatever it was, and be a million things. Would that attorney be able to recommend them that wants us to collect this information, recommend an attorney in their area for them?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. I asked him that the second time we spoke. Okay, because I mentioned having fathers or parents, because I did have to change that, parents that have cases in other states. He's like,
Hmm.
well, Eric, you have to look at it. Yes, we can have that. However, our main focus is what's going on here in Maryland. Okay. We can use that as we're going to say as a catalyst for change. Okay. To talk about what's going on here in this state compared to Maryland. What
Yeah.
what judges are doing on the bench in this state opposed to what judges here in Maryland are doing. Okay. All right, let's look at it as far as you're concerned. You live in a predominantly red state. Okay. Um,
It's changing, but
and
yeah, right, yeah.
right,
Historically read, yeah, but
yeah, but the laws there are really different than here in Maryland.
mm,
Okay. Um, would you say?
but definitely. I mean, out here, I think it's more. They take men more seriously out here, and I don't think it has. I think it's more men having a more opportunity to show and prove here than they do out there because you guys are kind of grouped in, and it's more of a money making scheme out there. Whereas out here, it seems the courts have other ways of making money. So I don't know. I think it's the our family courts are more tied into the criminal system, so I think our courts out here make more money off of our criminals than they do off the family courts, more or less. And just my opinion from what I can see. But where you guys are, it seems like they like the courts weigh heavily on both, but they found a way to tax fathers because it seems like your guys' family court gets more an incentive in taxing fathers than they do out here in Arizona, because out here it's like a 50-50.
Okay. Now, you've been a vocal person. You've been the voice of reason for me. Um, I
Wow.
need to ask you something.
Wow. That means a lot coming from me. You know what I mean? Because, I don't feel like it, but I mean, I try to, I guess
You
where
know what?
you're, because it's kind of crazy because I feel like in like our friendship, like you're more conservative and you know what I mean, streamlined than I am, and I feel like I'm like the reckless risk taker. That you know what I mean. But when I deal with your projects and your stuff, when we collab, because I could screw up my own platform. You know what I mean. I don't need help doing that. But when I collaborate with other people, I'm like, this isn't my shit. So let me look at this from a different perspective. So I'm not as reckless when I'm giving out advice. I'm like, yo, just because I make it look cool doesn't mean that it's for everybody. Because I get through obstacles differently. But yeah, um, yeah. As far as like your platform, um, I try to keep it as streamlined for everybody. Because like I said, when we first started off, it was like, yo, fathers, 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 and then we started getting the women involved, and women were like, it's fathers are assholes too. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Kathy, I see you. I was trying to get as many dads to come on, as many people to come on as possible. Okay. I posted the StreamYard link right there. If you care to come on and share your views or opinions about what's going on, about what can be done about the family court system here in Maryland or whatever state that you're in. Okay. The injustice goes throughout. Okay. We're not going to just pinpoint it here in Maryland. The injustice goes throughout the United States. All right. Now, what we're trying to do here in Maryland um, is just bring, I'll say, start the change with bringing things to light. Um, eh, Having the law office deal with this is a big change, okay? Because now I talk with some fathers, Norman, and you ready to hear what they charge as a retainer
Hold on. After the free consultation,
after the free consultation with an attorney? You want to hear what they charge you for as a retainer?
well, I'm gonna go off of mine, and I'm gonna say 5K.
Exactly.
Really? Because that's
They're
what mine
charging.
was after. That's what the one was asking here out here, and I was like, I don't have 5K, but I got but they let me slip. You know what I mean? I got to negotiate. You know what I mean? Because I basically had the case done for. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So and I try to tell fathers, I'm like, listen, that's highway robbery. Okay? For something you can do for yourself to get it started. Okay?
But
You
and you're absolutely right because like I said, I negotiated because mine asked for 5K off top for the retainer after I, showed her the paperwork and listened to the story, and I was like, well, I only need you for just to get over this hurdle, this portion of it, where I can prove her background, so that way I have a platform to stand on as far as my virtue versus her virtue. You know what I mean? So we could show who's in the best interest of the kids, at least through morality in the public eye. You know what I mean, for a lack of a better term. So I was like, so judge what
right.
I do online versus what she's doing online, or whatever, however you want to do it, and then let's talk.
Now, here's a scenario. My daughter came to us a few days ago and said that one of her male friends needs our help. because a young lady he was dealing with, um, she became pregnant, and he challenged the paternity of it. Came back to the child is his. Now she has made TikTok. She has made Instagrams about him and this baby, all because she can't have him. Okay, he's still willing to be there for the child. He wants to do. Okay, however, she is not allowing him to do. Now, if you have a parent that doesn't want to do, and you have a parent that does want to do, that goes to the best interest of the child. So why wouldn't an attorney want to help out as half, just half? Okay, just half.
Are you asking me to play devil's advocate? Because I can think of
Yes,
like
yes, I
okay,
am.
so as far as like I can understand why, because people look at me like, yo, you got full custody of your kids and you're a fucking hard ass online, excuse me my French, but you're a hard ass online when it comes to your platform and how you talk about your ex and women who and men who cry about, who cry about their situation instead of doing something about it. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's because um I put up an effort, and I know that other fathers say they put up an effort, but whenever I intermix with those fathers, we are not the same, we're not the same caliber. You know what I mean? You may do this online, or you may do this, and you know what I mean, or whatever, but not all fathers go the extra mile like we do. You know what I mean? As far as showing up, going to all the parent teacher conferences, counseling if necessary, whatever needs to be done to make sure the family's on stream. Whereas you got some fathers that will say, okay, I just want to pick up my son, but they still want to give the mother a hard time and vice versa. You know what I mean? They want to be in their kids' lives, but they want to do it at the expense of satisfying their toxicity, you know what I mean, to keep doing the back and forth, whereas the other person is still trying to move on. You know what I mean? That I can understand where, what I mean, where especially where a father, needs to have other fathers that are mature around him so they could say, look, she can get herself in trouble. She doesn't need you following around her, trying to point out everything she's doing inconsistently. Let her live her life. Because if she could take it so far, and then if she screws up, you know what I mean? She can't hide it forever, and then everything's going to fall in your favor. But the more you try to interact with her and sabotage her, you know what I mean, to look like the best, fit for the kid in court, the more you're going to fuck it up for yourself, is what I'm saying.
That's not. Yeah, you got a point there. Okay, and this is why with winning strategies, dads for the win. We try to talk with them to let them know it's all about you in the best interest of that child. Okay, we need you to get out of your feelings. Okay,
Yeah.
really, we need you to get out of your feelings for whatever you feel as though has happened. All right, and I was in a meeting today,
Hmm.
and I said, why is it that men don't take an active role as much as they should when it comes to improving themselves, being a better parent, and just opening themselves up to just trying to be there for their child or their children? Okay. And they said, well, Eric, you may have gotten to that point. However, they're still trying to get there.
Hmm.
Okay, they may be still trying to get there. However, that's at the expense of their child or their children and their access to them. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's like, and men, trust me, I rock with y'all. I do whatever it takes to help y'all get y'all custody, but you got to grow up. Okay, you got to learn how to move past certain things. Okay,
Pick your
or
battles. Pick your
right.
battles.
Now I'm going to be. I hope I don't make any enemies when I say this. Okay, but it needs to be said. Life is not like when you was growing up and your mama raised you. Your mama kept you from doing certain things that needed to be done with you. Okay? Sometimes, and you have to look at it and call it for what it is. Our mothers put us in this predicament.
I wouldn't
If
say
you
that.
don't,
I wouldn't necessarily go that far. For some of us that were raised by single mothers, I could see there being a high, you know what I'm saying, percentage of people on the spectrum that are in that, possibly in that category. But what I see right now is I see a lot of people that, and this is on every side, black, white, male, female, Democrat, Republican. What I see right now, and this is just me living in an apartment complex. I see a bunch of victims that want to be victims because there are no superheroes out there, and victimhood is like what's popular right now. You know what I mean? Who's got the biggest, homeless story? You know what I mean? Why you're still homeless? You know what I mean? It's not a comeback story. It's like who's got the worst, victim story. You know what I mean? And that's what I hear. So when I'm out in public or when I'm out, you know what I mean? I listen to conversations, the vibe of the city and stuff, and I don't hear people talking about, you hear about, like when Barack was president. You know what I mean? And I don't want to make this whole thing, but when Barack was president, there was a lot of upbeat talk about, did you hear about these new programs that are coming out? Did you hear about this opportunity? Did you hear about these jobs that are opening up? Did you hear about this new thing that's coming out where they can't choke us out in the streets anymore for just walking, frisk and search, and you know what I mean, stop and frisk and all that. You know what I mean? Stuff was looking up to where people weren't afraid to fucking do stuff. You know what I mean? And it seems like we're starting to turn there, but there's been so much bullshit that has happened since then. And I'm not trying to blame, because even though we don't like politics, politics loves us. You know what I mean? And it affects us, no matter what. But for whatever the argument is, or however you see the view, we went through COVID and we went through all this bullshit, and we did a reset. You know what I mean? And it seems like, as far as like fathers' rights and parental rights, it's like the government got this whole, like, hold on, wait a minute, a bunch of excuses came to why people can't pay their child support, and they lost their jobs, and they're legitimate excuses. But a lot of these fathers and these mothers didn't do the proper procedure of, doing a modification. So a lot of
now,
these fathers and mothers ended up going to jail, and COVID was but they had already went to jail crying COVID while they were in jail, or had a warrant out for their arrest for not paying child support.
now, you brought up a good fact. Doing the proper thing for modification. The I was off Thursday. Okay, I was off, and I made a TikTok, and I told fathers that I would either file winning strategies will file their cases for them as long as they showed they did everything right according to what the paperwork says, or we went or filed the case out at the Office of Administrative Hearings,
Mm-hmm.
okay, because of a modification. I say that to say, Norman, I broadcasted this. You know how many fathers took me up on that? One. One. I said, look, if you do the letter and you have that letter notarized by how she flim flammed you,
Mm-hmm.
we will take it to the Office of Administrative Hearings and we will file it for you. And we will turn you over, not turn you over, we will pass your case on to our attorney who's going to look at that case and put your case with the other cases and file it against the injustice. Okay? His child was in Job Corps. She emancipated herself. She emancipated herself. The mother was still collecting child support. She didn't
That
tell
child
him.
support, that child support is supposed to go directly to the daughter, as far as I know. It's not. It's supposed to no longer go to the mother. As she emancipated, it goes to her, to directly to the daughter, to help her transition into adulthood.
And the daughter said, don't tell mom because of whatever. They froze his bank account. They said that he was in their arrears. They froze
So,
his bank account.
so did he
Now,
go to
he
court? Did he do the modification, show that the daughter was emancipated, or what happened with that?
I took it since I was off on Thursday. I was
Mhm.
suited and booted. I took it to the Office of Administrative Hearings. I filed it for him there. I said also, you I want you to make a copy and I want you to send that to the Baltimore City Office of Child Support, okay? To let them know you are making them aware that you are filing something over their heads because they're not listening to you.
Mhm.
All right. Now, what do you think will happen once they get that information and says, well, hey, this father is filed because you're not listening to him. You're not modifying his child support because of this certain situation. Okay. That's going to bring attention to what's happening.
Well,
Okay.
in this circumstance, I wouldn't have handled this by myself, because this is one of those anomalies that happen in court where they would just love to like bury it under the rug and kind of just like let the father hang out to dry if necessary. If he thinks he doesn't have any like social kickback to it, you know what I mean, or whatever. So you know what I mean. This is one of them stories where it has to be public. Like, yo, there's a flaw in the system, and if it's happening to this cat with an emancipation, imagine what's happening to other fathers that are going through the same situation, because children being emancipated is happening more often now than it did even 10 years ago. The
Right.
courts aren't evolving. The courts are never going to evolve unless we force evolution.
But see, you're let me say it like this. First of all, you're right. We have to force their hand to make a difference, to make a change, to help fathers in need. Okay. However, here in the state of Maryland, it's already been said by legislators,
Mhm.
oh, quote unquote, Maryland is an old state and we don't want to give fathers that right. Now, this is said to a what do you call them? People that bolster arguments for a politician.
Uh,
Lobbyists. They
Lobbyists,
said
yeah.
they said this to a lobbyist organization.
Hmm.
Okay, so you're already saying that, hey, we're not going to let fathers have their rights. So basically, when the attorneys from the law program, not law program, the legal office that's going to file our case for us, when they file it, that gives them more ammunition, okay, to say why we're following it federal, okay, because it's an act within or a thought pattern within the local legislatures that says that, hey, we're not trying to change the law because this is how we see it,
Hmm.
okay,
We just got to
so
put that shame. They got to put that shame and that pressure on them, and hit them with those, with those little skits that we've been doing online. I don't want to say attack ads, but I mean, and again, everybody hates being political, but if you watch how politicians work and get shit done as far as change, when they want change, they spend money on social media. They show the public, yo, this is the reason you need to vote for me. It's because I'm going to do this, and this. And they're not just appealing to a party of just an island of people if they're smart, you know what I mean? But not all politicians are that smart. But if you're smart, you'll broaden your stroke. You know what I mean? Your message out that way, you get more votes if you're trying to get that international recognition. And even if you're trying to get just the Eastern Seaboard, I would just paint that brush up and down the seaboard and just funnel them down to, the ones that are from Maryland. I'd shift them out like you're doing gold and go grab them, the Maryland accounts out of there, and funnel them to the attorney so you guys can help them locally. But if this attorney is going to help them up and down the Eastern Seaboard get their own attorney locally, and ask them, is it cool that if we keep track, or if you keep in touch with us, that way we don't necessarily want to keep your case on file. We just need to have a summary of what's going on, so that way we can give a statistical view to say, look, on the East Coast, and we'll just use emancipation as an example. And on the East Coast, we took 20,000, videos, or, separate cases, 90% of them happen to be fathers, 10% happen to be mothers. But in that 90%, this is what happened with emancipation situations. This is what happened with child support situations across the board. This is what, you know what I mean? And we could take different scenarios and look at those synapses, you know what I mean? And be able to at least come up with a ballpark, sound like Trump, at least have a concept of a plan. You know what I mean?
Listen, for these last few minutes, I posted the live stream link that you can come on, and just give your opinions, give your attitudes, and yes, there is a incentive in it for you. By the way, I'm going to pick up that Father shirt today. The shirts I ordered. How many shirts did I order? I ordered quite a few of them.
Okay.
Um, to go out with the bracelet. Okay. Um, and oh yeah, you have to send me the proper spelling of all your kids' names too.
Oh yeah.
So I can for your
Yeah,
bracelet.
my ex was medicated when she spelled Aaliyah, so it's not traditional. It's not traditionally spelled. It's kind of ghetto-fied. So yeah, I'll send it to
You ain't right.
you.
But hey, yeah, this is next week is the last week we're gonna do this. Okay. Um, however, we're gonna continue to fight. We're gonna continue to get the word out. My TikTok post, I'm going to pay to have it spread for a few days, and I'm going to try to get. Now, I'm gonna need your opinion on this. Should I do fathers or males or females too between the ages of 18 and 45, or should I just try to hit males?
I would do everybody because you never know. Because you got to think it's not just that because males ain't gonna share shit. Guys are real selfish when they're on. It's kind of like you got to think of it like Tupac and how Tupac was doing his music. You know what I mean? You make the music for the women, the men will follow the women. You know what I'm saying? So
You got a point there. You got a point there.
I
So,
mean, mix it up, because you do got some fathers that are, especially in their first lick. You know what I mean? Like you remember what it was like when you first got in the sauce, and you were like, "Oh hell no, I ain't gonna be paying for this, and I can do this on my own and do." You know what I mean? So I think we tailor to young fathers that are like, on their first, second lick in court. You know what I mean? And they're just like, "Oh no, I get it now." You know what I'm saying? But as far as like the ones that are like older and have already been, and the children, like I love the homie Lamont to death, but Lamont be like, yo, he be reliving it, and his kids are like grown in college, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, dude, we can't relitigate, you know what I'm saying?
that's what, and that's what it's all about. Okay,
Yeah.
I wanted, I had envisioned having older fathers or fathers who've been through this whole shenanigans of a system of family court and child support and child custody to come on and share their views.
Yeah. So we have
However,
the ones that are being beat up, and then we have the survivors like Lamont, myself, yourself. You know what I'm saying? That can at least give advice and say, "Yo, young buck, I was when I came to this fork in the road like you're at right now. I chose to go left, and this is what came out of my results. Now we ain't the same person, and we don't have the same resources, and everybody's fingerprint is different. But if you go right, these are the options that would have been laid out for me that I did not have that would be available for you. So we can give him a topological view of the situation of wisdom, whereas they're in the forest, like, do I go right? Do I go left? Or do I go down the center? You know what I mean? And you got this, and they're trying to look at the light between the trees where the sun is setting, and which part looks creepier and which part looks easier. You know what I'm saying?
all right. Now, last thing I'm gonna ask you, and last thing for the night.
Yeah.
You have a father who has been to court several times, who has been trying to get to see his child for God knows how long. And he gets to court and doesn't go his way. Okay. However, he does study the law a little bit
Hmm.
and say, well, hey, there's nothing in the family law that says I cannot go to therapy with my child if my child is over 14. Okay. Yeah, my child can say who they want to live with, but there's nothing saying that I have to be there for my child. Okay. Like that child, I can't go to therapy with my child. And Norman, hopefully you'll come right back. Um, so should that parent fight to have a should that parent fight to have that right with their child? Okay. If there's nothing in the law books that says that they cannot go to therapy or that parent can't go to therapy with their child, should that parent fight to go to therapy with their child? And if the mother does not take the child, do you feel as though he has a right to sue the mother in a tort claim because she's not following the family law, she's not following the order?
I guess it would depend on the situation because I'm in a similar situation right now without pulling all my skeletons out of the closet. But I currently have one of my children doing like online, like a therapy kind of like, you know what I mean? Just because they requested it. And you know what I mean? And I'm not going to say, no, you don't need therapy type things. But if they felt they needed it, I'm going to give it to them because I want somebody to catch a warning sign. Now, with that being said, the reason it was done was because of something that was said on the other side of the aisle. You know what I mean? That caused kind of a trigger. So when I talked to the therapist, it was in the best interest of my child not to have the other parent involved to do this. Now, my court information is different because I have full custody of my children. I don't have, all I have to do is inform her of my decisions. I don't have to involve her and give her, you know what I mean? I just have to let them know this is where they go to school, but she's not, because of her history, she can't pick them up. She can't, go outside of the guidelines without me agreeing to it because I have full anonymity. As the only obligation I have is to make sure they show up to their visits every other weekend. But as far as her involvement in school, I let them know where they go to school. It's up to her to call and ask, yo, how is their school? How is their doing? I don't have to tell her, yo, I tell them what grades they got, you know what I mean? Because they're always on honor roll for the most part. But as far as like day-to-day activity, I don't call my ex and say, oh yeah, today, our youngest got into an altercation. You know what I mean? I let the kids talk to her on their visits. And then if it's something that she feels that she needs to ask me about, then she can ask me about, how I handle it or whatever. But in our situation, what I'm saying is I don't answer to her. You know what I mean? I put myself in a position as a paralegal to where I've had to block her from influence. And I was talking about earlier about toxic people wanting to be involved for the sake of the kids, but they're not doing it for the sake of the kids. They're doing it because they're not happy with the court arrangement and they want to see if they can sabotage it to get it more in their favor. You know what I mean? Something like that. And that's kind of like how my situation was. And my ex had showed her ass so much that the judge was like, yo, this is plain as day. You're not, and I'm paraphrasing, but you're not doing this for the best interest of the kids. You're doing this for yourself. And it's evident because nothing is adding up, especially the more you keep talking, the more you seem out of touch with your own kids. So,
Okay. Yeah.
so in my
All
in
right.
my situation, to answer your question, I'm doing the weave here. So, so to come back to what I'm saying, to what you asked, and it would come to the circumstance because yes, if the mother is purposely on some old um, postpartum depression because she's having a baby by another dude, and it's a, you know what I mean, and there's some other orbit that's pulling at the gravity of the situation, you know what I mean, because not all our solar systems are the same. So if there's another thing pulling at the situation that can stop the father from being involved, that has to be addressed also. So
Okay.
there's
But he
there's,
has
there's
to be willing.
it's fluid. It's fluid, Eric. I mean, there's you know, it's
He
hard
has
to
to be
answer these
willing.
questions. That's why we all need attorneys. And
He has to be willing to press the envelope, basically. Also,
yeah, I mean, as long as and like I said, there's a difference between the good guy and the nice guy. And as long as you're trying to be the good guy all the time and not be because the nice guy is an asshole. The nice guy just puts on the show. The good guy is the guy that you see on like good. The good guy is not the guy who literally finishes first. The good guy is the guy who's consistent. So in the long game, the good guy wins because he's the one that showed up to all the parent teacher conferences. He's the one that showed up to all the court dates on time. He's the one who didn't get smart in court. He's the one who kept his pedigree on point. You know what I mean? He's the one who didn't get out of pocket. Whereas he played the long game and maintained his composure as a man should, and he let her play herself out emotionally in court, in public, in front of the police, false allegations, blase, blase. Because if you are genuinely the good guy, your example of being the good guy, not the nice guy and just putting on the front being an asshole to her, will dampen the flames so you guys can get along. So I mean, and unless there's other circumstances where you're the good guy and the other boyfriend or ex or her new boyfriend is hyper jealous and is doing this, that could be an issue. But if it's a point, or let's say you got somebody who's helping you be on orbit and be on, on the straight and narrow, and they're hyper jealous of your circle, and they're trying to dip in, you know what I mean? So there's always these circumstances you got to look at when you're looking back and forth for the best interest of the child. Are you both doing this for the best interest of the child, or is this person trying to bogart into this child's life because they want to get back into your life?
good point. With that being said, everybody, I want you to take a look.
Signatures for politicians to get on the ballot. They say, we owe them a favor.
Yeah.
And where are we going to put them? We can't put them in the civil court or the Supreme Court because press goes in there to report. So we have to put them in a place where nobody can see the morons that we're appointing to the court.
The government has overstepped their authority on numerous times state to state. Money or favors should not determine whether you get to have a relationship or time with your child. It's no secret the family system is broken and even corrupt. There is a podcast that lets your story be heard and solutions for others in a similar position. On Saturday, October 12th, 19th, and 26th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What are the problems you had or have? What are the resources or solutions that will change the game? No more outdated laws and stereotypes. Time to organize and listen to the people. As a special thank you for the first 10 guests to the podcast, you get a gift. Craft a symbol of your cherished connections with the custom stainless steel link bracelet. This durable, elegantly designed piece is perfect for anyone wishing to carry a piece of their heart on their wrist. Engrave up to 4 names in telling your unique story, be it your children, siblings, or friends, and keep your loved ones with you throughout the day.
That's what's up.
Everybody, if you are interested in coming on board and sharing your story, if you have an opinion about the family court system and what can be done to help fathers and be in the best interest of their child or their children, if you feel as though there needs to be a change, then reach out to me. I'll send you the link, okay, prior to the show beginning. You can come on and share your opinion, okay? You can come on and share your thoughts. Think about it. We have 7 days, okay? Even if you aren't a parent and you want to share your opinion about what should be done and what shouldn't be done, come on, we'll listen to you. But I have to tell you, as he already said, I'm the more conservative one. You're going to be dealing with Norman and how he's straight off the board. But like I want to talk to you privately, Norman. About a half hour, I'll give you a call over there in Arizona,
Happy.
so we can get the ball rolling on the next project and how we have to no, how I have to talk to the post office about my DVDs.
Oh yeah, well, it shouldn't be a big deal. I think we should probably be tracking this the weekend. We'll probably be here like probably Monday, but either way. All right, hit
All
me up
right,
when you're
man.
ready. All right, my guy.
All right, man.